Is to actually know you're not mad, it just hurts a little bit more. The other dude don't want nothing to do with him, but like I said, I can't let another child.
The major reason there's paternity court or DNA testing is because there are assumptions that the mother of the child has cheated, or she definitely did, but these women often defend themselves, that maybe the man cheated first or something, just wasn't right in the relationship. Let's find out what it was in this case. Mr. Thompson could be seen tearing up, but who knows the reason he's doing that? Did his partner say it's over for good, or the child isn't his? Or Mr. Thompson is even relieved that the baby is his? Let's dig deeper to know what exactly led to that scene.
Mr. Thompson, you are in court today in hopes of saving your 11-year marriage. Your wife has a newborn, 4-month-old Micah Pate Thompson, who you hope is your baby, but say your doubts are overwhelming. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Thompson is hoping the baby is his son, as that will lead to him repairing his marriage. Ms. Thompson also prays the baby belongs to Mr. Thompson for the same reason. This seems healthy, so what must have led to them initially doubting the paternity of the child?
The current status of our relationship is rocky. You know, we don't sleep in the same bedroom. We haven't slept in the same bedroom in years. We haven't had sex probably in about 7-8 months. You know, and it's just, you know, she don't like to cook, she don't like to clean, she don't like to work. So it's a lot going on other than.
Mr. Thompson is talking about Miss Thompson not cooking and cleaning, but didn't he know that before they got married? Okay, let's say he didn't pay much attention to that. He didn't notice she didn't like to work too? Whew. Mr. Thompson seems to be cool, seeing how he said he wouldn't leave the baby fatherless, even if he's not the father. That's commendable.
Well, take me back. I want to understand how this relationship began. Certainly, at some point, you all were happy together.
Yes, we met in college. We had a class together, and he sat behind me, cracking jokes, trying to copy off my test.
Now that sounds like something from a fairy tale movie, but for these two to be here, something must have gone wrong. Mr. Thompson and Ms. Thompson seem so excited to talk about their meeting and their love story, but life's not all about candies and roses.
What went wrong was when me and LaToya first started getting into marriage and stuff like that, I had found out she was doing some things that she shouldn't have been doing. Text messaging, meeting up with guys and stuff like that. So when I confronted her, she said it wasn't true. So when she said it wasn't true, I found out otherwise.
Making your husband get a DNA test every time? That definitely means Ms. Thompson was cheating, and she just wanted to be sure the children aren't for any of her cheating partners. And Ms. Thompson's best excuse for that was, we weren't really ready to get married, okay, ma'am?
She don't reciprocate it. She don't say nothing to me. So in my eyes, I'm not the perfect dude, but let me know what I'm doing wrong.
So where did this go wrong to the point that we are here in paternity court?
It went wrong when he decided to leave, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Ms. Thompson made Mr. Thompson seem like he didn't have faults in the marriage, even though he keeps complaining about her own backlogs. Anyone would easily understand Mr. Thompson's reason for leaving. The man was obviously tired of being the only one communicating.
When I left, she said she was gonna work on herself. Me and her had ample
While
conversations.
he was with somebody else.
About her working on herself. She was working on herself because she deleted me off social media. I found out she started adding all these other dudes to her social media page.
Because you were gone. You were living with somebody else.
This story is getting a little bit confusing at this point. Mr. Thompson thought Ms. Thompson would still be waiting for him after he had moved in with another woman, because she said she'd work on herself, but Ms. Thompson claimed she wasn't planning to do no such thing, hence the divorce in question.
While he was doing all that research, trying to figure out who I was talking to, he failed to tell anybody that he was engaged to this girl.
What?
While he was still married. And
What?
It's on her Facebook, so he can't even lie about it.
You asked another girl to marry you while you're still married to your wife?
I did.
Ow! Got engaged to another person while still married to your wife? That's wild. Even though two wrongs don't make a right, Mr. Thompson really made Ms. Thompson go out of line. Both of them can just be hopeful the result comes back positive, so they can work on their marriage because they still look like they are in love.
Mr. Thompson, you are not the father.
Having sons is like a really big blessing to some folks, but here in Mr. Hernandez's case, he does not feel that way due to the son's mother. Will Mr. Hernandez finally see the boys as blessings or otherwise? Let's see how it unfolds.
Ms. Martinez, you say your family is torn apart since the defendant has denied both of your children, 4-year-old Richard II and 3-year-old Renee. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove the truth and hope that the results will save your relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Martinez claims she's here to prove Mr. Hernandez fathered her sons, so me, Hernandez, will be able to step up to the plate and take responsibility. However, Mr. Hernandez says he can't believe a word coming out of Ms. Martinez's mouth, and he's putting his foot down concerning being responsible for the boys until the DNA test proves he's their biological father.
So, Ms. Hernandez, what has he done for the children?
Absolutely nothing until about 3 weeks ago. He did get them at least $200 worth of clothing, but other than that, that's all he's done their whole life.
That's a lie, Your Honor. I've tried to do as much as I possibly can since the beginning, since day one.
No, he hasn't, Your Honor.
Well, that's a good question from Ms. Martinez. Why is Mr. Hernandez sticking around if he really believes he isn't the boy's father? Sticking around may be confusing to the kids since he isn't there for them when they need him the most.
We first met, she was trying to get all over me or whatever from the beginning, but I ignored her.
Were you interested in having a relationship at that point?
Relations, but not a relationship.
Okay. And what were your intentions, Mr. Hernandez?
It started getting serious. I mean, well, I felt like it was, and I don't know, I wanted to be with her. All of a sudden, I find out she's doing other things with my friends and stuff.
Did Ma Martinez just say it was a one-time thing? Well, cheating is cheating, Ms. Martinez. Whether it was a one-time thing or it happened multiple times. Anyway, Ms. Martinez defended herself saying she didn't want a relationship because she didn't want to be tied to one person, and Mr. Hernandez forced her into it. Seems Mr. Hernandez got what he deserved.
Hey, let me tell you about that, Your Honor. We were still on and off, right? I called her and she's like, I'm with this person, which is my friend. And I was like, okay. Next day I talked to her, she's like, okay, yeah, I did have intercourse with this man. I forgave her. And a few weeks later, she finds out she's pregnant.
A slut? Mr. Hernandez has to control his tongue. Mr. Hernandez seemed to have caused this for himself because Ms. Martinez already told him she wanted nothing serious. Ms. Martinez lied about having protected sex when she didn't, and that's where the problem came from.
That incident, and then she's pregnant.
The only reason why I know without a doubt that he's the father is because I did have intercourse with him unprotected, and it was on the day that they said that the conception was.
Okay, we went to the doctor's office and they gave us that conception wheel.
Stayed up all night obsessing over.
Looking at the wheel all night.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez has the right to doubt the paternity of the twins. Ms. Martinez may be right about the date of conception, matching the date of sexual intercourse with Mr. Hernandez, but maybe there's a tiny chance of the other person being a potential father to the boys too.
One day, Your Honor, she just told me, she said, Richard's not yours. And I said, what? And then she was like, yeah, he's not yours.
And it was a heat of the moment because at the time I was actually going into emergency surgery to have my gallbladder removed. It took him 2 hours to get back to the hospital. Well, come to find out, he was with his friends, picked up two girls at a bus stop.
Oh, wow! Ms. Martinez had to get all of that out. Ms. Martinez has the right to be pissed at Mr. Hernandez for real, but saying one of the boys isn't his child? That was way too far. No man wants to hear that from the supposed mother of his children.
And he's saying all this stuff. My kids are suffering. My kids, he takes them a bath and he sits there and critiques every little thing about them. My kids don't deserve that.
Critiques how?
The way that they drink a bottle is the way that his homeboys or his friends drink a bottle.
Well, I know.
Or the way their eyebrows, when they're wet, looks like his friends' eyebrows.
Mr. Hernandez doesn't seem to know kids change as they grow up, Judge Lauren. Mr. Hernandez thinks they stay the same way forever, which is quite ignorant of him. Mr. Hernandez is almost certain the kids don't belong to him, but he wouldn't leave. He must really love Ms. Martinez.
We were at the hospital. The man that she named after him, just all of a sudden, as soon as he's born, called me and says, hey, I'm outside. And I was like, whoa, how did this man even call me right now? I haven't spoke to him in months. Why would he even call me? And why would he even be outside?
Again and again, Mr. Hernandez has the right to have doubts concerning the paternity of the boys, but a DNA test since birth could have sorted out the problem. Anyway, that's the reason they are here now. Let's get to the bottom of this case now.
As it pertains to 3-year-old Rene Hernandez, Mr. Hernandez, you are his father. When it comes to 4-year-old Richard Hernandez II, Mr. Hernandez, you are his father.
A man praying and wishing the baby isn't his in paternity court is not a new thing, but making it so obvious is on another whole new level. But Mr. Clark does not care, and he's showing that in Judge Lauren's paternity court.
Clark, you are suing the defendant for a DNA test and for $1,560 for damages you claim she caused to your property because you denied paternity of her 2-month-old daughter, Vanique.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say today you will prove you are not Vanique's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Clark isn't taking chances. He's in court to prove he's not Ms. Bailey's baby daddy, and he's even suing Ms. Bailey for damaging his property. It gets more interesting as Ms. Bailey is countersuing Mr. Clark, and she's here to prove Mr. Clark is indeed her baby daddy.
She burnt all of my clothes up. She came over there one day mad about me and her, my baby, and I told her the baby ain't mine. Acting a fool, Your Honor. Trying to get in the house, arguing with my lady.
So wait a minute, she comes over your house with clothes
Yes.
of yours,
Yes.
then burns them
Then burns
at your house?
at my house.
Ms. Bailey agreed to setting Mr. Clark's clothes and shoes on fire like it's nothing. Well, maybe it's nothing to Ms. Bailey, judging from what made her so mad that prompted her to act that way. Ms. Bailey claims she did that because Mr. Clark was getting pleasure from another woman while she was carrying their baby.
Your relationship, was he denying he was the father?
He didn't start denying her until she was born, and they both came to the hospital, and his.
So wait a minute, why were you so
denied
mad
from the
then if he
jump.
wasn't denying her when you were 7 months pregnant?
Because I was 7 months pregnant, and I was just so mad that he left me. Like, you literally left me at 7 months pregnant.
Wait a minute, Ms. Bailey cheated and she was pissed. Mr. Clark cheated too? Now that doesn't make sense. Maybe Mr. Clark leaving while Ms. Bailey was 7 months pregnant would have made her emotional but common. The man just probably wanted to get his lick back.
Because he said he didn't want a girl that parties a lot. And so he left, and I cheated. Yes, I did. But I don't think that's cheating. You left, so I had sex with someone.
One day after my cousin's wedding. Come on now.
Yeah.
Get real.
So you all were together. You all got into an argument. You said you really didn't want to be with a girl that parties a lot.
Yeah.
So you said it's over?
Yeah, I told her it's over.
Already meeting up with another person and having sexual relations with them, the same day after breaking up is diabolical. Ms. Bailey wasn't ready to waste even a minute. Mr. Clark wanted to come back, but news flash. It's too late, Mr. Clark.
From there, he got admitted to the hospital, and he started his chemo sessions and everything. But before then,
And you all
they-
were together when this happened?
Yes, they said, are you guys interested in having children? And we both like, yeah, you know, and they was like, well, there's an 80% chance that he can't have children during his chemo.
So you know
And-
I can't have kids.
Mrs. Bailey turned out to be pregnant after knowing Mr. Clark's cancer diagnosis says there's an 80% chance that he can't father a child. And it seems Ms. Bailey was sketching a shady plan while trying to capitalize on the 20% chance left. Ms. Bailey didn't even tell Mr. Clark about it? That's shady.
You know she was with someone else?
Yes,
She
but
told me.
he wore
She
protection.
told me.
So there's no,
So-
I'm 100% sure
She
that
said,
he's the
she
father
said,
of
she
the baby.
said they were protected, but right now, she said, but the condom did slipped off. So
Did-
come
really?
on now.
Did you admit that the condom came
Come
off,
on
Ms.
now.
Bailey?
No.
There was protection, it slipped off, it didn't slip off. Which one exactly are we supposed to believe out of all of these options Ms. Bailey uttered? Safe to say Ms. Bailey is just looking for a way to get away from the other man being named as a potential father.
There are doctors that there was an 80%
80%
chance that this would negatively affect his ability to have children.
It depends on the type of chemo, the dose, the age of the patient. However, if you ask for general statistics, it is about 77%.
The doctor supports Ms. Bailey's claim concerning the 20% that could really lead to Mr. Clark being able to have children. It's not certain Mr. Clark is Ms. Bailey's baby's biological father, but it's possible.
Ms. Hudson,
Yes.
you are Mr. Clark's current girlfriend?
Yes.
What happened at the hospital? You were there.
She told the nurse to give me the baby out of all
I
people.
did. Do she look like him or do she not?
And he
This
asked,
is getting even more interesting.
he asked me right there in front of me, he was like, do you think this is my baby?
Pushing a baby out and already debating her features within seconds is as wild as it sounds. Who does that? Simply put, Ms. Bailey, Mr. Clark, and Mr. Clark's girlfriend. Time to put an end to this mess. Let's get to the result.
Mr. Clark, you are not the father.
I wanted him to be the father.
Paternity court and fathers claiming babies are being pinned on them is intertwined. Most of the time, these men never believe their one-night stand or continuous sexual encounters with the same woman or different women could lead to pregnancy. Talking about pinning babies on them like it's some sort of magnet.
Ms. Connolly, 2 years ago, the court helped you prove to your father, Mr. Harrison, that you were his biological daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say your relationship has improved, and he is actually here supporting you in today's case.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's wonderful. Now, you're back to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Haskell, that he fathered your 9-month-old daughter, Blair. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Connolly does not want the same cycle to repeat itself as she has been through the same thing that's about to happen in court at an older age. However, Mr. Haskell says he knows for sure that not his baby and Ms. Connolly is just trying to pin the baby on him because he's famous. Okay, Mr. Haskell.
Do you really believe Ms. Connolly's after your fame?
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
I was going to my favorite pizza joints. I don't have to really do too much talking when I come in. I just give a head nod and, you know, everybody knows me, so they normally just go ahead and make my order. So this particular day, I see Miss Connolly, and she's new. I don't even know her.
One of the most famous singers in DC. You say Mr. Haskell? Wow, that's self-flattery, but yeah. Mr. Haskell said he had to give Miss Connolly one of his tunes to set things straight, and things went smoothly from there.
Hey, who are you? What are you talking about? He told some, you don't know me. I'm famous. I'm famous. I sing. I said, well, sing. He held the note. So I said, oh, okay, I can sing too. So I sung a song that I had wrote, and he was like, oh, okay, you can sing too. So we
all this before the order was placed.
Before the order was placed.
One of the most famous singers in DC having to ask his mother for permission before a lady can come over? Mr. Haskell seems like a mama's boy. Ms. Connolly has a different story on how things went, though.
How did you get keys to the house and you were laying in his bed when he came home?
Your Honor, we were in a committed relationship for 2 months. Under my assumption.
She bought my mother. She had to buy my mother. She must have bought her pizza every night.
You brought me
when
to
she
your
was
house.
hungry, she bought her pizza at home every night.
Mr. Haskell is a master manipulator according to Ms. Connolly, but magically, Ms. Connolly was the one buttering Mr. Haskell's mother up with pizzas every other night. That's a nice way to have an easy entry into the house, even without Mr. Haskell's help.
Let's get back to the issues that relate to the paternity.
I left for.
You missed him and then you came back.
I came back.
Once you came back, did you resume a sexual relationship?
As soon as I got back.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Haskell's self-flattery deserves an A+. Mr. Haskell keeps going on and on about Ms. Connolly wanting to trap him with a baby, but Ms. Connolly says that's not it because Mr. Haskell doesn't even have any money. That seems valid because he's still putting up at his mother's house.
Mr. Barnett, how do you know Ms. Connolly, Mr. Haskell?
I was actually there when they first met.
You were?
Yeah, this is my cousin.
That's your cousin?
Yeah.
So you were there when they first met?
Yeah.
Please tell the court what you know.
Okay, what I know about Miss Connolly is basically she tried to talk to me on multiple occasions.
That's a
Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Haskell's cousin is here supporting Miss Haskell and making the case worse for Miss Connolly. Mr. Haskell's cousin says Miss Connolly even tried moving to him, and she even allegedly slept with another one of their friends. Ms. Connolly strongly denies ever doing something like that.
The time that Blair was, were you all in a place where he participated in the birth with you? Did he attend doctor's appointments?
He only attended one appointment, and that's because I asked him, like I begged him to come.
So when the baby's born, does he show up to the hospital?
Yeah.
Mr. Haskell was present during the birth of the child, not because he was willing to be, but because he wanted to do a blood test to know if that was his child. That's fair. At least he was there to hold Miss Connolly's hands through the difficult process of labor.
I have to ask you, do you believe Mr. Haskell is your grandchild's biological father?
No, I don't really know Mr. Haskell. I never, I didn't know him at that time when she said she was pregnant. I never met him.
Why is it you don't feel he's the biological father?
Because
do you have knowledge that she was also intimate with other people?
Well, she had a roommate in Texas.
Ms. Connolly thought her mother would have her back, but unfortunately, the opposite of that happened. So it's obvious there was another man, and Ms. Connolly has been trying to hide that fact. Maybe it's time to get to the result before Mr. Haskell would drop a diss track in paternity court.
Mr. Haskell, you are her father.
What'd I tell you?
While some marriages end due to both parties not being able to tolerate each other anymore, most marriages end because one party cheats on the other, fostering trust issues and a few other problems. In this case, Mr. Threlkeld never saw any of these coming until after it has already happened.
Mr. Threlkeld, you have entered this courtroom with a marriage on the brink of divorce. You state that while you were out of the country serving in the military, your wife paraded around town with other men, and she has admitted to cheating multiple times.
Mr. Threlkeld was out serving his country, but it seems the country he was serving in turn ruined his family. As Ms. Threlkeld claimed, she had to step out of their marriage due to her husband's military salary, not enough to foot the bills in their home.
When did you first discover that your wife had been unfaithful?
Actually, ma'am, I was overseas in Afghanistan, and I was at up in the Northeast, and a soldier of mine came up to me and tapped me on the boot and said, hey, you need to go outside, we need to talk right now. So earlier on in the day, me and him got into some words, so I thought we were gonna, settle it.
That's a different kind of heartbreak. Mr. Threlkeld got to know about Ms. Threlkeld's new profession through a friend. Probably Ms. Threlkeld thought she could keep the home in check to avoid getting her husband worked up from a different continent.
I was able to get back online, and I get on Facebook, and there's some clown on there saying, liking all her skimpy photos.
Skimpy photos.
Was following her. He liked that she was started working at the club. So then I started doing a little bit of research, wondering, who this guy is. So I went to the phones, and I called her and I said, hey.
Did Miss Threlkeld mean she was done with Mr. Threlkeld? Or the other guy liking her skimpy photos? That's confusing, but it's certain Miss Threlkeld didn't appreciate her supposed husband stalking her. But just like Mr. Threlkeld said, a man's gotta find out, so he did what he could do.
She didn't even have the courage or the decency to tell me, no, your friend's husband told me that she was doing what she's doing because she didn't have the decency to say, hey, I'm doing what I want to do.
Ms. Threlkeld, what? Your husband's overseas, serving his country, serving our country, keeping us all safe.
Oh, okay. Mama Threlkeld clears the air as she explains Mr. Threlkeld mentioned on a call that he was going to send her divorce papers. This was due to the stripping occupation Ms. Threlkeld seemed to love so much, but she claimed she had her reasons.
Argument about you stripping and you hung up.
Yes, Your Honor. We hung up and we said it was done because I wanted to do what I want to do.
Ma'am.
Let me explain.
Okay, now we're getting to the truth.
Okay.
You wanted to do what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
And why is it that you wanted to strip?
Because we got married too young.
Mr. Threlkeld used the right word, but it seems Ms. Threlkeld has a different meaning and word for the profession she prefers to practice. Marrying too young or late doesn't make sense as an excuse to be a stripper, but okay, Ms. Threlkeld.
Name's up, everybody's clapping and cheering. They come up to my name and it's just dead quiet. No one was there. So as everybody's getting ready to go home, I'm sitting there with my bags and I didn't even have a phone yet, so I couldn't even call her. So I'm sitting there under a street light with my army bag on one side and a suitcase on the other.
No one was there to clap or cheer for Mr. Threlkeld. That must have been so sad for him. Ms. Threlkeld probably couldn't come to where others were due to her fascinating choice of outfit to the location.
The guy, she hadn't fully admitted that she's been seeing this guy, so I snatched the phone from her and I started going through it. And as I was looking through it, there was a number that she'd called like 13 times. So I called him right back. And he answers the phone, hey, you know, I said, who is this? Are you the one that's been my wife? He said, yes, I've been. And now her defense, she starts laughing saying, I knew he was just gonna say that. He's just saying that to make you mad.
Mr. Threlkeld's narration keeps going from sad to a pathetic one. Coming back from a long military mission and having to go through all of that without having a good sleep just yet must be draining. Ms. Threlkeld thinks a marriage can be over only by saying it's over. Whew, someone needs to register for GED.
That if I get my wife pregnant, she'll stop stripping.
Roger,
because that's going to definitely
what she
be
tells me,
a
kind of like she
professional-
just said, kind of like how she just said, I'm going to strip and I'm going to do whatever I want because that's what I'm going to do. I said, oh, really? Okay, I'll give you a 9-month break on me. I mean, so...
That wasn't a smart move from Mr. Threlkeld. That is exactly what is causing a paternity issue in Judge Lauren's court. Ms. Threlkeld was hell-bent on stripping to allegedly support her family, so nothing could stop her. To put an end to this conflict, let's get the result.
Mr. Threlkeld, you are Liliana's father.
A man desperately wanting to be the biological father of a child on paternity court happens on very rare occasions, as men prefer to not be associated with the child most of the time. Will Mr. Deggs be fortunate to be the biological father in this case, or otherwise? Let's find out.
Mr. Deggs, you are here today hoping you are the biological father of the defendant's 3-year-old son, Jason. You have petitioned the court for paternity test because you claim your ex, Ms. Guerin, first led you to believe that you were Jason's dad, but when the baby was 6 months old, she confessed that you may not be the biological father.
Mr. Deggs would wish on a star right now to be the biological father of the child, and that's why he's in paternity court. However, Ms. Guerin is not sure of the paternity of her son, as she agreed to having sexual contact with another man during the window of conception, but that was only because Mr. Deggs had stepped out too.
When did you first find out Ms. Guerin cheated on you?
We were together about a year. At the time, we were moving out of my best friend's apartment. And it was just about that I got the truck loaded up with everything. And I went upstairs to grab my last box, and my best friend at the time pulled me aside and told me him and my brother had both slept with me.
Best friend and brother? That's insane. Mrs. Guerin is in the stand talking about her not doing it out of spite or anything. Ma'am, whether that was out of spite or not, that was completely out of line. Maybe his best friend wouldn't be a problem, even though it's also wrong, but brother? Having sexual relations with 2 brothers is wild.
I was lacking affection from him. He was never home. He was always...
I work, Your Honor. I work full time to make sure that her nails and her hair get done.
After he would off work, he never came home, and he left me in the apartment all the time with a roommate that he knew was attracted to me and wanted to be with me.
Mr. Deggs was at work while his girlfriend was getting down with his best friend. Ms. Guerin complains about not getting enough attention and decided to get naked because the best friend made her feel pretty. Maybe if Ms. Guerin had got a job too, she'd be busy and not be looking for that kind of attention.
How did you end up with his brother too?
His brother, I was really young at the time, and
you keep talking about how young you were. If you were so young, you shouldn't be sleeping with everybody. How did you end up sleeping with his brother?
It was an attraction. He was paying me the attention that Jason was not.
Attention? Again? Guess the attention Ms. Guerin was getting from the best friend was not enough, and she had to move to Mr. Degg's brother too. Mrs. Guerin keeps making excuses about being young and not getting enough attention, while she was also supposed to be working shifts or something.
Pregnant, we had a lot of problems at that time. We had already cheated on each other. And then I met somebody else that was taking care of me, and I ended up sleeping with him while I was with Jason.
When you give birth to the child, he was there.
Yes, he was there.
Okay, Ms. Guerin really has some nerve. Ms. Guerin does not give a damn about whether Mr. Deggs was hurt or not because he cheated after she had cheated. Ms. Guerin does not even seem to care if Mr. Deggs fathered the child or not. That's cold.
Mr. Deggs, now take me to that day where, unfortunately, you got that bomb dropped on you.
I think we were in an argument, and out of nowhere, she throws at me. You're probably not even Jason, the daddy of Jason anyway.
No,
I crumbled right there, started
like
crying.
That. I would never do that.
It's obvious that the child is so important to Mr. Degg's couple with the fact that he didn't have a father while growing up and he does not want history to repeat itself. On the other hand, Ms. Guerin won't stop looking for men to take care of her better than the previous one.
Why I didn't tell him right away, Your Honor, is because I was truly at a horrible place in knowing what I did. But the reaction that I got from him, he was happy and we wanted a family. We were together. I did stray away from the relationship,
now you got
and I felt, can you please let me
new
talk for a second?
boyfriend over
I
here
let
trying
you
to
say
play
what you
nice.
wanted to say.
Let her talk.
Ms. Guerin says she isn't as cold or callous as it looks because she also wanted a family with Mr. Deggs, but unfortunately, she already strayed from their relationship. Maybe Mr. Deggs straying didn't birth anything outside, but being the woman, Ms. Guerin straying gave birth to a baby with paternity issues.
Your Honor, I've known Jason since we were 13 years old. He's been one of my best friends, and then yes, we started dating. The minute we started dating, all the problems came. Megan would blow up his phone. She texted him and was like, you better keep your job, honey, because all I want is your money.
I never,
ever
said
and she was like,
Everyone can guess who the parent might be, even without the witness saying it. Mrs. Guerin just wants to play dress up and be taken care of, while Mr. Deggs wants to be an actual parent and a father that he didn't have. It's time to know if Mr. Deggs' wishes would come through.
Mr. Deggs, you are not the father